To remove the rump and loin, I'm going to make a mark underneath the H-bone and making a cut across between the thick flank and the rump. Slicing through the meat, locating the cup joint. Then we get the handsaw and saw through the H-bone. Once you've cut through the bone, use your meat hook and then slice through the rest of the rump. There you have your rump and loin. What I'm going to do now is bone this whole piece of meat out. First, I'm going to take out the tenderloin, bone out the sirloin, then I'm going to bone out the rump. And out of that rump, I'm going to get some subprimals. When you come back down to this end of the loin, this section here is where the hanger steak comes from. The hanger steak's often taken out when the offal's removed. Firstly, to remove the tenderloin, must follow the rump bone down and all the way along the vertebrae to remove it. Finding the seam between the rump and the fillet, negotiating around the rump bone until you can remove the whole primal. Now I'm going to remove the silver skin to produce the butt fillet, the centre cut and the tail. There we have the 3 cuts from the tenderloin. Once the tenderloin has been removed, I'm going to locate the first vertebrae and make a mark along the bottom there to the fatty side, then roll the rump and loin over, locate the soft cartilage at the top of the rump bone and draw a line between those 2 points. Then it's just a matter of just slicing straight through to separate the rump from the loin. There we have your loin and your rump. To bone out the rump, you'll need to make a mark down along the chine bone and roll the rump over, hard on the bone, following the contours to release the meat. Once you've removed the bone, just trim off any excess fat. And there's your boned out rump. Now that the bone has been removed, I'm going to show you how to get 4 subprimals out of the 1 primal. To start with, I'm going to take off the tri-tip. Then I'm going to remove the rump cap, and with what we have left here is called the roast beef. I'm going to actually separate the rump eye centre from the rump eye side. Now, to take off the tri-tip, just find the little seam at the end of the tail and mark all the way through. Trim off any excess. The tri-tip. Now to remove the rump cap, find that seam in between the roast beef and the cap, and that'll pull away quite easily. with your knife, separate along that seam and try and remove all that fat still connected to the rump cap. There's your rump cap. Remove the excess fat. Trim off the excess. There's a little bit of silver skin on the side there. That's best removed, otherwise it curls up during cooking. Now the grain runs across that way. We normally cut that way when it's still connected to the rump. But what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to slice across the grain. Gives us some lovely steaks. What I have left here now is called the roast beef. What I want to do with this now is separate this into two muscles. There's a seam that runs all the way along the top here. It's identified by this white fat mark. I've got to pick that seam up. What I'm going to look for is that sinew at the first slice. I'm going to follow that along all the way through to separate the two. First of all, locate that bit of silver skin using the point end of your knife and just scrape along gently all the way along the top, revealing that connective tissue, as we can see there. Once you've separated the two muscles, remove the silver skin, and that gives you two beautiful pieces of meat. And to recap, the 4 subprimals I got out of the one rump was the tri-tip, the rump cap steak, eye rump centre, and eye rump side. The last primal from the rump and loin to bone out is the sirloin. All I have to do is run my knife hard against the bone, down the feather bones, turn the sirloin over, following the rib bones down, again hard on the bone, releasing the meat. This is where striploin steaks are sliced from. Another cut we get from the loin is a T-bone. Mark them at the desired thickness, then cut them on the bandsaw, separating the meat as you slice them through, which gives us our T-bone.